CBS News foreign correspondent Holly Williams is on the phone, joins us now from Istanbul. Holly, we're getting pictures of at least one of the attackers now. What new information have you learned about the attack?
Well, Rena, there's no official confirmation that these images that have been published by the Turkish media do indeed show the attackers. Nonetheless, they're very interesting. One of the images shows a man dressed in a thick quilted jacket. It looks as if he's in the area, the drop-off area, outside the airport. Now, that's very interesting because this happened in the middle of summer. And a senior Turkish official told us yesterday that almost immediately after the attackers arrived at the airport, they drew the attention of the police because there was something strange about them. If this is indeed a picture of one of the attackers, that may well be what was strange, the fact that he was wearing a thick quilted jacket in the middle of summer.
That is a big tip-off there. We know that ISIS hasn't claimed responsibility. Nobody has claimed responsibility. But in the past, when ISIS has struck Turkey, do they usually claim responsibility by now? And does this appear to have the hallmarks of ISIS?
Well, ISIS hasn't claimed responsibility, and there's no definitive evidence that this was ISIS. The Turkish government is saying that there are indications that this massacre was the work of ISIS, and U.S. government officials are saying that the evidence leans in that direction, in part because of the type of weapons and the methods used by the attackers. But your question is very interesting because in two previous suicide bombings this year in Istanbul that targeted foreign tourists, the Turkish authorities pointed the finger at ISIS, blamed ISIS, but ISIS never claimed responsibility.
Oh, that's an interesting fact there, Holly. Thank you. And I want to ask you also about security. You travel throughout the Middle East, Europe. You go to these airports. Can you describe to us what this particular Istanbul airport, is it tighter than most airports in the region when it comes to security?
It's actually fairly typical of a lot of airports here in the Middle East, and they tend to be a little bit different from what we're used to in the US or Europe. Ataturk Airport has two layers of security, so you have to get through a security check just to get in the door of the building. Then you check in if you're taking a flight and you go through another security check. Now, if you cast your mind back to March this year after the Brussels attack in the airport there was a lot of discussion, people suggesting that this second layer of security might be an added precaution against terrorist attacks. However, at least in this case, it seems that two of the attackers were able to get through that first layer of security. Remember that, as far as we know, they were armed with guns. So that added layer of security does not seem to have done its job in this case.
Our Holly Williams in Istanbul. Holly, thank you very much.